Good morning to you. It is 7 a.m. Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. Welcome to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Maybe some showers this morning, then scattered thunderstorms, a bit breezy this afternoon. Much warmer later in the day. So it'll start for much of the state. It'll be in the low 70s, but maybe upper 70s to near 80 in some parts later. Let's head to meteorologist Mike Favetta to explain with the first check of the Garden State forecast. Good morning to Mike.
Good morning to you, Ken. Yeah, it's going to be one of those wild days where we start off really chilly and then warm 40 degrees by the afternoon in some spots in New Jersey. It's all due to a little bit of a wind direction, milder air coming in with a warm front. We start off this morning, though, quite chilly with temperatures in northern New Jersey holding in the low 40s right now. Little touch of mist and drizzle in the northeastern corner of the state. So fine, it's barely being picked up by radar. And the rest of the state holds in the upper 50s right now, all the way down to Atlantic City, 59 degrees. So a much milder start there. This will be the story of the day with a very different scene depending on your location throughout this afternoon. Gusts off of the water up to 25 miles per hour right now at 7:01 this morning actually makes for more of a wind chill down the shore. 51 is how it feels right now down on LBI. So it takes about 9-10 degrees away from the temperature, yet compared to this time yesterday, it is a solid 25 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. And I think we will enjoy that milder weather throughout the afternoon. With all of these temperatures that will hold cool this morning, thanks to a little bit of overnight rain. Look at that northeastern New Jersey, light rain showing up there out over the eastern end of the state. We had a little bit of wet weather come through last night, but our forecast today predominantly points to a warmer, sunny afternoon. That is, after another round of light rain. The Futurecast shows that in the northern part of the state as temperatures climb into the 60s. By noon, we'll have some light showers returning there toward Bergen County, over toward Passaic County, and even up in Sussex County, maybe even the northern sections of Morris County, right up until about 1 o'clock. Then, with some breaks of sun, the warm front does its job and warms us well into the upper 70s. Might even see some low 80s down over toward Trenton and Camden. But notice the coast much cooler, holding in the 50s today from Atlantic City and over toward LBI. Back into this evening by 6 o'clock, some of these storms begin to pop up on the radar map. Isolated, not everybody sees the rain tonight. And then throughout this evening, I think after 9 and 10 o'clock, better chance of storms come through southern New Jersey with the severe potential. Could be some gusty winds, isolated downpours in through the overnight. Tomorrow morning is another round of wet weather. We begin with some light rain through 6-7 a.m. The morning commute looking messy, but with clouds most of the day in southern New Jersey, we actually break out into some clear sky by tomorrow evening, and then throughout tomorrow night, more rain sets up for a pretty wet weekend ahead. And I think some of that rain lingers throughout a better part of our Saturday. Sunday also looking quite wet in the northern section of the state, but southern New Jersey warms up again with that sunshine. By later Sunday morning, we're already in the 70s, maybe approaching 80 again with that southerly breeze clearing out some of the clouds. However, northern New Jersey on Sunday has some light showers around. That'll be around throughout Sunday afternoon and evening. So again, all dependent on it depends on your location this weekend, with the milder weather and cooler weather splitting the Garden State in two. Throughout tomorrow, some rain returns. It sticks around for Saturday and might even have that thunderstorm in northern New Jersey by Sunday. We've got more details on what to expect hour by hour because it changes quickly here. You need the shorts one moment and with the sunglasses and the umbrella and the kind of springtime sweater the next. It's going to be an interesting ride, Ken, over the next few days.
Unbelievable. I have my little two-piece, with the little umbrella. It looks really cute, but I don't know when to wear it. So that's a whole other story. That's maybe a personal thing I shouldn't have shared. Mike, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And it is really strange out there. Let's take a look at the traffic because of the damp roadways, patchy fog. That is the ugly approach to the GWB. The left side is the lower level, right side is the upper level. You can see just moving along at a snail's pace. Yeah, it's a good 45 minutes inbound. At least it is moving, but very slowly right now. We have a crash on 295 southbound ramp to exit 72, which is Route 31, Hopewell Township. The right shoulder closed. We have a disabled vehicle on 295 northbound ramp, exit 36, Route 73, Mount Laurel Township. All lanes open, but there's a partial ramp closure with 10-minute delays. We have a traffic signal down on Route 168 northbound by Newtown Creek in Audubon Park. All lanes are closed and detoured, so please use caution through there. And a disabled tractor trailer on I-80 westbound by the exit ramp at exit 34. Right, you know where that is, exit 34. That's Wharton. So that's by Route 15. So now the exit ramp has a disabled tractor trailer, as if there weren't enough problems there. Let's take a look at the I-80 cam. Maybe we'll see it. Oh, that's real ugly today. They move it left and right during the morning, so you could see the taillights all red at the top. So that gives you an idea of what's going on. I bet you the traffic folks are trying to find the disabled tractor trailer on the traffic count, which is why they have that shot, my guess is. But you could see why they did that shot. Look at the stopped traffic. Again, so just avoid I-80 east and westbound at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. Westbound lanes, at least one or two will reopen in 5 weeks. Eastbound lanes, not for at least 7 weeks. And we have a tractor trailer fire, 1 and 9 express lane southbound north of Dowd Avenue in Elizabeth, with all lanes closed. It is now 47 degrees at 7:06. As Mike was saying yesterday, by the way, at this time was 34, so it's now 47. Quite a difference. 7:06 is our time. Governor Murphy signed a new law cracking down on deep fakes, AI-generated media used to deceive. The legislation imposes fines of up to $30,000 in prison time for creating or sharing deep fakes for illegal purposes like harassment or extortion. Murphy, speaking in Newark, said the measure protects residents from virtual threats.
As just about any bad actor can use artificial intelligence at any time to produce hyper-realistic images and videos that can exploit children, teenagers, and frankly, anyone. In the face of these new dangers, our families and children deserve stronger safeguards.
The law was inspired by advocates like Francesca Mani, a student targeted by explicit deepfakes. Lieutenant Governor Tahisha Way and Attorney General Matt Plotkin hailed it as a step to safeguard elections and public trust. New Jersey now joins over 20 other states regulating this technology. South Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew wants to open up an investigation into how the Biden administration used the FBI. Yesterday on Capitol Hill, Van Drew claimed the Biden administration wasted billions of taxpayer dollars targeting political opponents and silencing dissent.
Let's start with parents who spoke up for their kids, parents who voiced concerns about radical school agendas. What did they get in return? A surveillance file, a federal investigation for just trying to be a good parent. That's not law enforcement. In my book, and in most Americans' books, that's intimidation. Let's talk about people of faith. The Biden FBI branded certain Catholic Americans as, quote, radical traditionalists and potential domestic terrorists. They even discussed infiltrating churches by having parishioners spy on their own people, by their own fellow parishioners. And it wasn't just Catholic churches. In 2021, the FBI raided a Hindu temple in the state of New Jersey. Using overwhelming force, agents stormed sacred grounds. And listen to this, they held guns to the faces of the holy men.
Van Drew says the subcommittee on oversight will investigate the full extent on what he is calling abuse of power. 7:08, President Trump unveiled sweeping new tariffs yesterday, calling it a declaration of economic independence. Using emergency powers, he imposed a 10% tariff on all U.S. imports with higher rates, like 34% on China and 20% on the EU.
They understand exactly what's happening, and they probably, most of them are saying it's about time they did something, but and they're going to fight, and they're going to fight fair. Everyone's going to fight. You know, it's like, I say to the leaders, look, you got to take care of your country, but we have to start taking care of our country now. We can't do what we've been doing for the last 50 years.
Foreign nations, including allies, promise retaliation, risking a global trade war. The tariffs start this Saturday with more sector-specific duties to come. So how's Wall Street responding? Dow futures are currently down about 1,000 points. Not surprising, as stock sell-offs occur whenever there is uncertainty. If the market tanks for a day or a few days, don't worry. Take a deep breath. History often shows it bounces right back. People want to make profit on those declines. So just hang on tight, put on the seatbelt, and get ready for a ride. 7:10, Education Secretary Linda McMahon made a surprise appearance at a House Democrats press conference Wednesday. Check this out. The secretary emphasized nonpartisanship in education policy after meeting with Representative Mark Takano and other Democrats to address concerns over recent layoffs affecting nearly half the department's workforce. She praised local control of education.
Said this is not a partisan issue. This is about the children of America, and it's the next generation, the generation after that. And if we want to have our leaders, if we want to have that next group of engineers and doctors and lawyers and plumbers and electricians and HVAC operators, then we need to focus on how they can best have their education. And I believe, and I know the president does believe this as well, the best education is that is closest to the child, where teachers and parents, local superintendents working together, and local school boards to develop the curriculum for those students is the best way that it can happen.
And it was vowed to dismantle the Department of Education per President Trump's executive order, did not answer questions about the timeline for shutting that down. 8/7/11, the sinkhole on Route 80 will not stop the fun at Rockaway Town Square Mall. Management is offering some discounts to encourage people to find a way to get to the mall, get around all that traffic. They're offering 10% off at Nathan's, BOGO deals at Vans and Aeropostale, and 30% off at Hot Topic and Macy's. P.F. Chang's offers all-day happy hour with $5 cocktails and $10 appetizers. That's all you need to do. Go have your cocktails and then get involved in 2 hours of traffic. That's a good combination. I do love my P.F. Chang's, though. Plus, free ear piercing at Claire's with a starter kit and BOGO wristbands at Marcade. Events run through June 30th, so escape the traffic. Get some good deals. Walk there if you can. Just how bad was former President Biden's cognitive decline in the last year? Well, former White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain revealed that former President Biden was, quote, fatigued, befuddled, and disengaged before his debate with President Trump back in June. That's all according to a new book. Klain says that he was startled at his first meeting with Biden, shocked, in fact, saying he had never seemed so exhausted and so out of it. In fact, Ron Klain says in the middle of the session with Biden, Biden said, excuse me, got up in the middle of them talking, just got up and went off to the pool where he passed out asleep. The book is written by Chris Whipple. It's called Uncharted: How Trump Beat Biden, Harris, and the Odds in the Wildest Campaign in History. It is set to be released this month. And a new speeding ticket program is launching in San Francisco that will issue fines based on your income level. Yeah, that's the way American law is supposed to work. So two people commit the same offense, right? Reckless driving, say, could cause the same harm to people. But the penalty is issued in a discriminatory manner. So much for justice is blind. It's a page directly from Marxist communism with, the old Marx line, from each according to his ability to each according to his needs. Well, under the new law, power, income, or homeless people can get speeding tickets reduced by up to 80%. So if you are stopped and you're speeding and you could prove that you're homeless, which I don't know why you'd be speeding in a car that can speed if you're homeless, just saying. Or if you have a very low income, say you just lost your job, but you're speeding. You shouldn't be speeding, but you're speeding. They will reduce the ticket price up to 80%. There's encouragement. If you work and you earn a salary, though, you work hard, you're just trying to get to work, and say you cut around the car and you get pulled over, sorry, guy, you get punished. There's incentive. It is, liberals. It is 47 degrees now at 7:13. Showers this morning, then scattered thunderstorms, a bit breezy this afternoon. Much warmer late in the day. The temps for much of the state will be in the low 70s. Mike says, though, upper 70s to around 80 in some parts late in the afternoon. When we come back, we'll have politics from Trenton like nobody else can tell the story. New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein will have the inside edge. And as we said, meteorologist Mike Favetta will return with the full Garden State forecast. And we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Very good morning to you. 7:15 is our time, and we have some areas of patchy fog right now. Some areas, wet roadways. It is what it is. We're about 12 to 15 degrees warmer right now than we were at exactly this time yesterday. Meteorologist Mike Favetta forecast all this. He knows this stuff. That's why he's the meteorologist. See, otherwise he would just be there making great peanut butter and jelly sandwiches like we were talking about yesterday. But no, he
Yeah.
knows his
No.
meteorology. And we're saying, Mike, that we're going to have some morning showers or clouds and sun and whatnot in parts of the state today. And then it gets really warm in some parts later.
Really warm, yeah. Some parts of southern New Jersey could touch 80 before the
Oof.
day is through with that sunshine. Yeah, I know. And even northern New Jersey, likely in the 70s later on this afternoon. But it's all about the cool mist and drizzle and fog of the state right now, and that's dropping visibility down to about 2 miles over across northwestern New Jersey, there toward Morristown and up in Sussex County. Even Hackensack and Newark sees that visibility low right now, whereas clear sky prevails in most of southern New Jersey, where it's just cloudy at the moment. Now, going into this afternoon, central New Jersey sees a big warm up today with lots of sun. Again, the last of the showers depart by about 1 o'clock at the latest, but then we see those temperatures rise quickly. At the shore, it'll be slightly cooler into the upper 60s with a southerly breeze, but even back by Roosevelt and Princeton, look how temperatures warm into the mid 70s, maybe even rise up to 80 degrees in portions of southern New Jersey. The pollen level back to the moderate stage for trees. Weeds and grasses still remain low. And I think the morning mist and drizzle will help keep those pollen numbers lower this morning, but they're right back up into the high category this afternoon, thanks to those warm breezes. Wind gusts this morning, currently 29 miles per hour off of the water, gusting up to 30 miles per hour today. And then those winds eventually switch direction from the south throughout today, and then start to blow from the north and northwest by tomorrow, allowing for a cooler feel to settle in for the weekend. And those cool breezes will make it feel quite chilly this upcoming weekend, especially on Saturday, where they start to blow from the east, pulling in some of that cool marine air and also keeping the clouds around. So as opposed to yesterday, where we had a decent amount of sun, today's UV back to a 2. It's low on the scale, and it will stay low, I think, throughout the first part of today. But again, a little bit of sun returns this afternoon. Here's the next line of showers and storms, and these arrive later on this evening after we get those breaks of sun and it turns nice and mild. So as that front approaches, we'll see temperatures warm ahead of the warm front, bringing highs all the way up to 80 over in Camden, even 76 there in Mount Holly and Medford. And then later on this evening, we see those showers and storms develop and move through. We get another round of light rain tomorrow morning, and then a break in the action, a little bit of a pause for the showers briefly tomorrow afternoon as temperatures hold in the 60s, might even clear out for sunset in northern New Jersey tomorrow, still stuck in with the clouds for most of tomorrow afternoon in southern New Jersey. Later tomorrow night into Saturday morning, another round of rain comes in, and this sets the stage for a kind of a cloudy and cool day most of the day on Saturday. A steady easterly breeze keeps it feeling chilly statewide, 40s on tap most of the day. So Saturday is looking pretty gray and chilly, but I think Sunday has an opportunity to warm up with some clouds breaking for some sun, especially in southern New Jersey, as Sunday afternoon again climbs into the upper 70s and low 80s. That's for most of the state, even in the northeastern corner there toward Hackensack, 76, 79 degrees by the early afternoon before another round of showers and storms comes in later Sunday evening. Beyond that, Monday looks pretty gray, but I think Tuesday should start our dry period with a little bit of dry weather that lasts for the most of next week throughout Wednesday and Thursday and maybe even into Friday of next week. So we get several days of dry weather, and we'll take them. Looks like next weekend may start off a bit wet, but we have a few days to see if that changes. Looking ahead to the weekend, a split weekend. So we start off rather chilly on Saturday with the clouds, but Sunday see some breaks in the sun, some breaks in the cloud cover, a little bit warmer weather, 73, and then an afternoon shower or storm comes through in northern New Jersey. So a very different scene depending on your location, especially on Sunday. Even as soon as today, we start off dry in southern New Jersey, a little bit of mist and drizzle with fog in northern New Jersey, but climbing into the 70s, even touching 80 degrees by day's end. So a big change in the weather from hour to hour today, Ken. And it's kind of something we've seen with that big temperature drop, the biggest one Central Park has ever seen over the weekend, with that 35-degree drop in just a matter of an hour.
No. Weather. Weather's wonderful.
Yeah.
Keeps you busy. It's what
Yeah.
keeps you employed. All right, meteorologist Mike Favetta. Thank you very much, sir. And with all the weather that Mike's talking about, we have a lot of clouds, dampness, damp roadways, a lot of fog in the area. Take a look at this right now. This is the Eastern Spur, mile marker 108.7, Eastern Spur, south of interchange 15W, which is Newark and Harrison, Jersey Turnpike. You can see what we have there. It's just really volume, people taking it easy. They're brake checking a lot because of the damp roadways, but make sure you give yourselves a good extra 15 minutes or so travel time. That's what you got right now. We have a crash on 295 southbound, south of exit 72, Route 31 in Hopewell Township. A right lane is closed. And we have a crash as well on 295 southbound ramp to southbound exit 72, Route 31, Hopewell Township. The shoulder is closed, so please use caution through there. We have a crash on the New Jersey Turnpike westbound entrance ramp at 278 by the Goethals Bridge to interchange 13 in Elizabeth. All lanes are open. Vehicles, though, are on the right shoulder. And a disabled vehicle on 295, the northbound ramp to exit 36, which is Route 73, Mount Laurel Township. All lanes are open, but there's a partial ramp closure with 10-minute delays. Let's take a look at the GWB approach right now from I-80-95. It is dead stopped, both the upper and lower levels. Now you're talking a good hour entrance into Manhattan on the GWB. It is stopped. Now, we understand there's a disabled vehicle on the GWB upper level, so this could be causing that problem. The right lane is blocked, but as you can see, much damage done if you were headed in right now. In fact, just for proof, we're talking about the upper level has the disabled vehicle. So you see on the right side, that's the upper level approach. The left side, barely crawling the lower level approach. Maybe it'll give you 5 minutes of savings, but that's the difference between the upper and the lower right now. If you have to take the GWB, lower level is your bet. Who knows, that could all change in 5 minutes, but that's what we have. And remember, we still have the problem on I-80 east and westbound closed at Route 34 exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. Ongoing sinkhole repair issues, everybody being detoured off. Westbound lanes reopen in 5 weeks, eastbound in 7 weeks. And there you have it. Right now, you can see Route 15 off on the upper right of your screen, and the roadway itself, I-80, closed in both directions. It's 7:22 right now. Time for politics from Trenton. Explained like nobody else can do it. Here's New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein with the Inside Edge.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Inside Edge. It's Thursday, April 3rd. And before I forget, good morning, Garnett. Eventually, we're going to have to talk about Mario. I guess now is as good a time as any. But first, I'm going to take a quick detour. Back in 1984, with Ronald Reagan at the top of the ticket, Republicans thought they could beat freshman Congressman Bob Torricelli. He had flipped a Bergen County House seat 2 years earlier, and an unknown 30-year-old political operative named Neil Romano showed up, and he promised to self-finance. He said he had personal money. He said he had a very wealthy family. He said he had rich friends, but it was all just a scam. Romano didn't have any fundraising ability. He raised less than $90,000. Torricelli outspent him by more than 5-1 and beat him by 26 points in a district that Ronald Reagan won by 18. So this brings me to Mario Kranjak, the obscure former mayor of the small town of Englewood Cliffs, a late arrival into the Republican gubernatorial primary field, a primary that started 3.5 years ago. So I have to wonder how seriously to take Kranjak. I spent 2 days listening to a hearing on his nominating petitions. He had trouble even getting on the ballot. He just narrowly made it by 115 signatures over the 2,500 that he needed. That's not a good sign for somebody running for governor to be that close to just being tossed from the ballot. And the greatest uncertainty for him is money. For 7 months, I heard about Kranjak's ability to raise millions of dollars. Newt Gingrich was going to bring in money. And Mario, well, he was a wealthy lawyer, a venture capitalist, and he was prepared to put millions of dollars in the race. But the deadline to qualify for matching funds and a place in 2 Republican gubernatorial debates, it came and went on March 24th, and Kranjak didn't qualify. All he needed to do was write a check for $580,000, and he didn't do that. And now I don't know if he's viable at all. If this is just sort of smoke and mirrors, maybe one of those emperor has new clothes things. Maybe he will be serious. Maybe he can take some MAGA votes away from Bill Spadia. And maybe he's just one of those guys who winds up in the history books having run for governor and gotten 5% of the vote. So the New Jersey Globe and others, whoever's left, is going to need to decide whether we're going to cover him at all. If America First had put up Mike Crispy as a candidate, there'd be a different discussion here. Crispy would have had thousands of signatures. He would have gotten to matching funds, but Mario's not Crispy. That's everything for me today. Joey Fox is going to fill in for me tomorrow. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.
You bet, sir. Thank you very much. It is 7:26. Severe storms have moved through Pennsylvania this morning as tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings have been issued for parts of Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. A tornado warning was already issued for several parts of northern West Virginia. What were believed to be tornadoes, though not yet confirmed, were spotted across much of the South last evening, including Arkansas, and enormous amounts of flooding had accompanied those warnings. A lot of problems for folks in the South and upper and Midwest. And the flooding in Europe is being called biblical. A number of popular Greek islands received a month's worth of rain, a month's worth in one day. Take a look at this. Pam, if you could bring that up. That is the island of Zagora, one of the Greek isles. That island received 30 inches of rain in 20 hours. The famous vacation getaways, Mykonos, Paros, and Crete all received as much as 2 feet of rain. Schools have been closed, many roadways washed out, as you could see. Houses right up to the roof, full of water. The storm was unusually strong for one in the Aegean Sea, and that has the islands just underwater there. This happened Sunday into Monday. Amazingly, no reports of deaths or serious injuries. 7:27 now. What is the worst city in all of New Jersey? Well, here's a clue. It's a city with just over 26,000 residents. Give up? The city is called Bridgeton. Never heard of it? It's way down south. It is the seat of Cumberland County. The national news site 24/7 Wall Street compiled a list naming the worst community in every U.S. state, considering the economy there, community, and overall quality of life. Bridgeton, New Jersey earned the rank of suboptimal. Put that on the welcome to Bridgeton sign. We're suboptimal. 2 interesting facts about Bridgeton. It is home to the newest prison in the state. Well, there you go. And the cost of buying a house there is way lower than in most of the rest of the Garden State. Meanwhile, want to live among the wealthiest people in the nation? Check this out. Move to Bradbury, California. Aha! It is a suburb of Los Angeles, and it is home to one of the highest concentrations of billionaires in the nation. The community is even wealthier than Beverly Hills. It is home to only 1,000 very lucky residents in 350 homes. There's absolutely no commercial real estate there, just a bunch of sprawling estate homes with incredible vistas. Homes range in price, by the way, get this, Pam. Break out the checkbook, Pam. Break out the checkbook. Homes range in price from 25 million to 100 million. So the 25 million homes, those are fixer-uppers. Can you imagine? There's my Italian kicking in. But you have to follow the rules if you want to move to that beautiful community of Bradbury, California. It is against the law to solicit anything for sale there. So you can't go door to door and offer fuller brushes. And there is no public profanity allowed. So if you stub your toe changing your tire or something, keep it to yourself, or else you could be arrested. No, there's no In-N-Out Burger, but Pam is asking, is there an In-N-Out Burger? But you're literally right at the edge. It's only like 20 minutes to downtown LA. So you're in the suburbs. But this is a suburb a lot of people don't know about. They know about Beverly Hills, but this is actually wealthier than Beverly Hills. There you have it. 7:29 right now, 46 degrees. When we come back, 'tis the season, energy season. We'll talk about what you can expect this year and what you can do about it with a professor of immunology from Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. Also, the phone lines are open. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Showers this morning, scattered thunderstorms, and a bit breezy this afternoon. It'll be much warmer later in the day. The temp for most of the state highs in the low 70s, but then late in the day, some parts of the state could see upper 70s to around 80, specifically in the southern part of New Jersey. The full Garden State forecast in a moment. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, seen daily at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X, and now streamed live on Rumble and Twitch at twitch.tv/On New Jersey. We're coming right back. It's Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. Good morning. A temperature of 47 degrees now at 7:30. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Morning. Showers this morning, some patchy fog, then scattered thunderstorms and a bit breezy this afternoon. It'll be much warmer later in the day, especially in the southern part of the state. Highs for much of the state, low 70s, could be upper 70s to around 80 in some southern parts later. Meteorologist Mike Favetta now with the detailed Garden State forecast. Mike, we're very lucky we didn't get what hit the South and the Midwest overnight. What an absolute nightmare for those. Even Pennsylvania got some real nightmarish weather.
Right, and that is the same system that arrives in New Jersey later on this evening, but no severe weather expected for most of the state. There might be an isolated pop-up thunderstorm later on tonight, but a lot of the severe criteria that I showed you yesterday, it all diminished, and that's primarily due to that cooler start that we have this morning and that influence of the cooler Atlantic helping to tame the storms. With a little bit of rain early on, really mist and drizzle up in northern New Jersey, that finishes by the early afternoon. There's a much warmer finish to the day with temperatures climbing up into the upper 70s and low 80s. It'll feel fantastic later on before another round of storms comes in tonight, leading to some rain tomorrow, and then a very different weekend day by day. We start off very chilly on Saturday, but turn nice and mild with some breaks of sun by Sunday. Still, chances of rain both days. Visibility dropped even further now, less than a mile over toward Flemington, a mile visibility in Sussex, then 2-mile visibility in Morristown. So that area in red showing who has the worst visibility this morning. But down along the coast with a little touch of morning fog and the afternoon haze, thanks to that cooler breeze off of the water. It'll feel cooler at the coast, but well into the 70s inland. Back over toward Glassboro and Camden, upper 70s for you, thanks to all of that warm, sunny weather taking over this afternoon. Sunset not until 7:24 tonight, so we get a beautiful long finish to the day, with the rain not expected to return here in southern New Jersey until later on this evening. Now, there will be a few scattered showers that are currently moving in northeastern Pennsylvania. This moves in across northern New Jersey by the late morning and early afternoon. Southern New Jersey, however, has a little bit more of a threat of storms later on today, and that's because you get more sunshine this afternoon, helping to destabilize the atmosphere and give us a little bit more of stormy action after 5 and 6 o'clock tonight. A lot of rain chances over the next several days, specifically on Saturday, our best chance of seeing the wet weather. But then you see those rain chances diminish almost down to 0 by Tuesday. And then Wednesday, our first completely dry day in more than a week. So that'll feel very nice. With today's weather looking quiet, again, the severe threat is primarily to our west in the area shaded in yellow, with that easterly breeze putting all of the severe threats west of New Jersey. There's a small chance of seeing some hail with tonight's storms and even some wind as well, but no tornado threat unless you find yourself back over towards Salem and Cumberland counties right there, down toward Millville. Maybe a small potential, but beyond that, we're looking good. Air quality, nice and good today. That AQI level is low, under 50, so we'll take it. And with the clear sky around returning this afternoon, thanks to that warm front, here's the cold front sliding through tonight that moves on by, gives us that rain, and then kind of slides through but lingers not too far away throughout the weekend. And that's what gives us our rain chances going into Saturday and Sunday, with another round of mild weather that comes in for Sunday. A little bit of a clear nudge here of clear air, then clear sky trying to come in for Sunday in southern New Jersey. It's back to the rain by Sunday afternoon into Monday. So the 7-day forecast starts off rather wet and stays wet, even going into Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures cool by this afternoon, warming up into tomorrow, and then cooling down for Friday, only to warm again by Sunday. So every day you'd see a different pattern with the temperatures kind of swinging wildly in each direction. Starting off Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we finally dry things out and keep it a little bit milder. going into early next week. Down the shore, at the shore points, your forecast is temperatures in the 60s with a cooler feel on Saturday, but again, milder, drier likely by Sunday with less of a chance of rain. And then Monday and Tuesday sees our temperatures cool back down, but turn drier by then. So a very different scene depending on your location, and really hour by hour, Ken, going from 1 minute to the next. The weather's going to surprise you if you're not prepared.
Yeah. Here, I'll put a smile on your face, my fellow foodie friend. It is National Burrito Day and National
Ooh,
Chocolate Mousse Day. Two very yummy
wow.
things. The nice thing
Yeah.
about a burrito is much like a taco or a sandwich, you could put pretty much
Okay.
anything inside the roll up of cooked dough and call it a burrito. I love that. So good. Thank you
Very
to our
cool.
Mexican friends for giving us that wonderful gift of the burrito. All right. So, you know, burrito means little burro, means a little donkey. And
Little
the
donkey,
thought
yep.
was that the people who would sell them in all the little towns, they would ride in on a donkey and it would be in a little sack on the side of the donkey. And they call them burritos.
Wow.
Just little needless information. Thank you very much. Thank you for
I love the
tolerating that
food
for a few
history. It's
seconds.
all good.
Love that. All right, Sarah, we'll check back with you. Thank you very much. Mike was talking about all the bad weather and, of course, the wet weather and the fog in the area. So we have that on area roadways. Take a look at the approach right now. This is coming in on the New Jersey Turnpike. This is the Eastern Spur, mile marker 112.3, interchange 16E, which takes you into the Lincoln Tunnel by Secaucus. So that right there, my friends, that bumper to bumper mess is the result of something we're going to tell you about in a second. But now your approach into the Lincoln Tunnel, you're talking about a good 45 minutes into Manhattan if you come in from the Eastern Spur approach. Just an absolute nightmare. We have a lot of other problems on the roadways. A tractor trailer fire, Route 81 southbound by 1 and 9 Elizabeth. All lanes are closed now on 1 and 9. Again, that is by it's on 81 by US 1 and 9 in Elizabeth. There's a good 20-minute delay through that area. We have a crash on 55 northbound, north of exit 56, which is Route 47 in Deptford Township. The left lane is closed. Now, take a look at this. This is the approach to the GWB, upper and lower level. Earlier, we had a disabled tractor trailer blocking a lane on the upper level, and the lower level was crawling along. You can see they're both crawling now. They must have taken care of the tractor trailer, but it is a very slow go. GWB approaches on I-80 upper and lower level, both giving you about 50 minutes to get in, which is probably why you have the issues over at the Lincoln Tunnel approach. We have problems still on the, actually, by the way, we're just told that, yeah, there's a disabled vehicle on the GWB upper level, which is what's causing what you just saw there. And we have a crash on 295, and that's southbound ramp going to exit 72, 31 Hopewell Township with the right shoulder closed. Use caution through there. We have a traffic signal down on 168 northbound, Newtown Creek and Audubon Park. All lanes are closed and detoured. And our I-80 cam, as always, this is because we have a tractor trailer that's disabled by the exit. This is Route 80 east and westbound right now. Exit 34 in Wharton by Route 15. Just an absolute nightmare. Avoid the area if at all possible. For 5 more weeks, the westbound lanes remain closed. 7 more weeks, the eastbound lanes remain closed. This is the mess that you see there live this morning. 7:38 is our time, and spring is in full bloom, bringing with it warmer weather, of course, beautiful flowers, and for many, the misery of seasonal allergies. If you are sneezing, wheezing, rubbing, itchy eyes, of course, you're not alone. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that about 1 in 4 adults, nearly 1 in 5 children, suffer from seasonal allergies. But how can you breathe more easily this season? We're joined by Dr. Catherine Monteleone, a professor and director of immunology and allergy, I should say, at Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. Dr. Monteleone, thank you for coming on this morning. This is your busy season, I'm sure.
It is. Good morning.
Well, what can we expect this year? You said that spring pollen season could be average so far, but could it still bring some tough days, and what factors should we be watching for as the season progresses?
I think there's no longer anything as a good allergy season. Global warming has really increased the amount of pollen that plants put out and increased the growing season. So people have tough times during every allergy season, and every allergy season can have bad days where the pollen counts are just tremendously high and people have to lock themselves in the house because they have such symptoms when they go outside.
Should people just prophylactically, at this time of year, if they're sensitive, should they just prophylactically take a daily antihistamine through the season, or use one of the nasal sprays that, not the over-the-counter stuff, but the prescription nasal sprays that desensitize their noses?
That's actually good advice. If you know you're going to have symptoms, it's better to start early rather than trying to play catch up once the symptoms are really terrible for you.
Because I know, I mean, I suffer from horrible seasonal allergies, and I use Flonase every day. That's what I've been using, and I've noticed that even you could hear me right now. I actually lowered my mic while you were talking because of what I've been getting on and off. We could do an on-air diagnosis. And that this year has been extraordinary for me. And of course, I moved into a more wooded area, so I'm sure that had lots to do with it. How do different allergens affect us? Because I know, right, it depends on where you are and what's blooming around you.
Well, remember, tree pollen, which is this time of year, can fly for miles. So you can be in the middle of Manhattan and be affected by them. But certainly there are some pollens that are heavier and just drop to the ground much more locally. So it depends on the weight of the pollen and how windy the day is, how far it's going to fly. But basically you can't escape it. In New Jersey, we have a lot of wooded areas, and if you are allergic, it's going to find you. And trees
And
are what
usually,
are out this time of year.
I'm sorry to step on you, doctor. Usually on a day like this where it's a little damp or rainy or foggy, that's usually a good thing, right? Because it kind of keeps the pollen at bay. But I'm still feeling it today in spite of it. It's not as bad as the other day when it was breezy and dry, but it's amazing. Again, I think it's more where I live because I'm surrounded by woods in very rural New Jersey. But I'm definitely feeling it this year. I had gone to an allergist in the past who told me something that I found fascinating. Maybe you could explain it better from the way I interpreted it. The allergist told me that sometimes you're not, like I said to him, oh, my brother's allergic to carrots. And he said, well, it doesn't always mean that he's actually allergic to carrots. It may only happen seasonally when birch trees are pollinating. What is that about? I'm confused about the connection between certain pollens and maybe an allergy to something.
It's called the oral allergy or pollen food syndrome. And it is the fact that when you're allergic to something, it's the protein in the pollen, protein in the food. When you're allergic to a food, like a peanut allergy that can kill you, it's one kind of protein. When you're allergic to something that interacts or cross-reacts with birch pollen, it's a different protein. So that protein breaks down with heat and with stomach acid. So what you will feel in that case is just upper GI symptoms. It is itchy mouth, itchy lips, sometimes itchy throat. And then when it hits the stomach acid, it breaks up. So you're not going to die from it, but you're going to be uncomfortable. And it could be walnuts, it could be carrots, it could be other fruits. Stone fruits very commonly cause those kind of symptoms and cross-react with birch. But you can have melons that cross-react with ragweed. It's quite the array of pollen and foods that can cross-react in that way.
Amazing. And how do you know, for instance, if you're getting rhinitis, how do you know if it's an allergy or if it's a virus?
Sometimes that takes time to figure out because it happens every year. So that's what it is. But usually if it's more itchy, runny, clear nasal discharge, your eyes are affected, that's more an allergy. If it's thicker discharge and fatigue and you have more congestion than runny, sneezy, it might be more cold. And it's the duration of symptoms. Colds go away 7 to 10 days. Allergies do not. They can last the entire season.
And how do you know when you may need an allergy shot? At what point do you need them?
Well, allergy shots aren't going to help you during the season. Allergy shots are a buildup of giving you what you're allergic to. So the kinds of trees you're allergic to or the grass you're allergic to has to be put in the shot. And that is a buildup to become tolerant. And that takes time to get built up to the maintenance level that will help you. So usually we want to start that before the allergy season, so you're at a good enough dose during allergy season. And it's a 3 to 5 year course. People don't realize that. You want to stay on it 3 to 5 years because then you have a better chance of getting long-term relief when you stop the shots.
And if you have any doubt, you have I have severe allergies. I have anaphylaxis to tomatillos of all things. I used to think people with food allergies, they're overreacting. Yeah. One drop of a salsa at a Mexican restaurant 10 years ago, Doc. Luckily, there was an emergency room right across the street. I blew up like a balloon for 3 days, and that shut me up. It was like God's telling me, don't make fun. I'll teach you. So it is a serious thing. Food allergies are the real deal. So if you know of somebody in your kid's school who has a peanut allergy, there's a reason why they're telling you no peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Don't whine about it. It's to save a kid's life. Very real thing. Dr. Catherine Monteleone, thank you. Please come back again. Professor and Director of Allergy and Immunology at Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. It was a pleasure having you on today. I know this is your busy
Thank you.
season,
Very nice
so
to
we
meet you.
appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Doctor. Likewise. You bet. It is 7:46 right now, 47 degrees. When we come back, we just found out that energy costs in the Garden State could soar as much as 20% by the summer, on top of the big increases we just saw this winter, thanks in good part to all the green energy fees the leftists in Trenton imposed on us. We'll speak with independent journalist Dave Bondi about this trend that seems only to be occurring in blue states around the nation. Expect showers this morning, scattered thunderstorms, a bit breezy this afternoon, much warmer later in day in the southern part of the state. Highs in the low 70s, could be upper 70s to near 80 in the south. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a full Garden State forecast. And we will take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We'll be right back. And welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 747, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Showers this morning, scattered thunderstorms and a bit breezy this afternoon, much warmer later in the day. Highs low 70s, could be upper 70s in the southern part of the state later on. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the detailed Garden State forecast. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Yeah, a little bit of fog and drizzle right now, but throughout this afternoon, with a little clearing and some breaks in the clouds, temperatures managed to warm up into the upper 60s and low 70s, even in northern New Jersey. It'll feel quite pleasant. The scattered showers you see here will be some light rain that comes through the middle of the day. So between, say, lunchtime, 11:30 to about 2 p.m., could see those showers run on through. And then, of course, another round of storms later on tonight, isolated thunderstorms, some of which could be severe. But in terms of how the drought is doing, we've seen a little bit of an improvement with the drought monitor going back to the less severe level, as all that rain from earlier this week now filling up the gauges and keeping the rainfall deficit to only less than an inch in northern New Jersey. We've kind of ended, at least in the last 30 days, our rainfall deficit across most of the state. Now, the middle of the month sees a little bit of cooling and clearing with a slightly cooler weather trend going into the end of April. But I think with a better chance of seeing some more wet weather here in the Garden State, yeah, we'll see our fair share of rain, specifically through the next week or so, as the rain begins to come down each and every day. We get a shot of it today. We see more rain tomorrow, as well as Saturday, and yes, even Sunday by the afternoon. Our first dry period should be as soon as Monday or Tuesday, as all those showers begin to depart, and we get that cooler springtime dry feel in northern New Jersey. But even southern New Jersey has a little bit of a cooler trend, with temperatures holding in the 50s by this weekend for Saturday. Sunday turns milder, climbing up to 66 degrees, maybe even reaching 70 away from the coast down at the shore points. Another quick chance of a shower on Monday, and then back to sunshine Tuesday and Wednesday. So a pretty wet period ahead. Need the umbrellas for the next several days, but I think we'll enjoy a few hours of milder weather each and every afternoon coming up over the course of the next few days. We'll take another check of your forecast, detail and break down what to expect with a future cast. That's coming up in just a few minutes, Ken.
We'll take what we can get in terms of the warmth. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it, sir. It is 47 degrees now at 7:49, and we have problems with a disabled vehicle that we've been talking about. Take a look at this. Take a look at this first off. This is the approach to the Lincoln Tunnel from the New Jersey Turnpike. Now, we understand there's a disabled vehicle as you go a little further east of that point, so that's what's causing that absolute mess. This is off of the eastern spur of the Turnpike, exit 16E, which is Harrison. No, this is Secaucus, excuse me. But that is the problem you have right now in the approach. That's going to add a good 15, 20 minutes to your ride, so just beware of that. We have a tractor trailer fire, Route 81 southbound by 1 and 9 in Elizabeth. All lanes are now closed on 81 southbound. Crash on Route 55 northbound by exit 56 in Deptford Township, one left lane closed. Let's take a look at the approach to the GWB. Upper and lower levels now pretty slow. We have a disabled vehicle on the upper level still being worked on. The lower level, I think, is where everybody started going, which is the left side. The right side is the upper level, left side, lower level. But I think because everybody started going to the lower level to avoid the disabled vehicle, now the lower level is just absolutely crawling. That's a good solid hour into Manhattan, folks, right there. And of course, we have the ongoing problem on I-80, Route 15 and Wharton exit 34, closed in both directions for the next 5 to 7 weeks due to sinkhole repairs. This is the mess you're looking at, Route 15 on the upper right of your screen. I-80 east and west closed. Westbound will reopen in 5 weeks, eastbound in 7 weeks. Imagine this is the thoroughfare that connects New York City to San Francisco. Thank you very much for some, who knows whether they were corrupt. I like to call them corrupt engineers from the 1960s. They may not be with us anymore, so their ghosts will haunt me. But the result of building above abandoned iron mines. There you have it. 7:51, liberal politicians in blue states around the country have been warning of more energy price increases. In New Jersey, our energy prices are expected to top 20%. They're supposed to go up by that in June. Why? Well, the leftist environmentalist friends say it's due to increased demand and decreased supply. They're kind of using conservative verbiage against us. What they fail to mention is why we have increased demand. Try 14 million more people here illegally whom they invited in and allowed to stay, and decreased supply due to coal, gas, and nuclear power plants being shut down across the country in favor of ultra-expensive and inefficient solar and wind plants, most of which haven't even been built yet. But they closed the other plants down first, so we find ourselves stuck with not enough energy. Sorry for the rant. Joining us to talk about the issue is Dave Bondi, an independent journalist who spent decades as a mainstream TV news anchor and reporter, now writes a regular blog and has a podcast called Keeping It Real with Dave Bondi, which you could find on just about all social media platforms, especially on YouTube and Substack. Thanks for coming on this morning, Dave. Good to have you on.
Thank you, sir. Hope you can hear me. I'm on my cell phone. I had some little computer issues today. Hopefully everything's good.
It looks good, actually. You have such a good set that Katie helped you build there. Your wife, that set looks good. Even on your cell phone, it looks fantastic. So
Thank you very much.
But go ahead. Yeah, I was going to say, you're in the state of Michigan and you're having the same issue with energy prices that we have in New Jersey. Tell us about it.
The same exact issue. And 2 years ago, under Governor Gretchen Whitmer here in Michigan, they passed legislation to have Michigan be clean energy by the year 2040, I believe it is. And they are going full force. And we are going to see our land littered with windmills and solar energy. And we're dealing so much now with area farmland. I'm in the middle part of Michigan, and the state and companies are buying up farmland like crazy to put solar farms. And the studies and the estimates show that you are not going to be able to power Michigan, and I'm assuming even New Jersey or Ohio. You're not going to power the entire state on just the renewable energy. You're not going to be able to do it. And all the studies have shown that. And there's actually other countries, and even California's backing away a little from it. In Michigan, I don't know about New Jersey. I haven't been there in a long time, but in the winter, especially here in Michigan, we don't have much sunshine. From November to May, it's pretty gloomy. So solar, it's not a good thing. But the estimated price that it's going to cost people in Michigan, $2,200 more a year for the average person.
All for the folly of saving Mother Earth, who really never asked to be saved. And it's just ridiculous. We in the state of New Jersey, we had this plan. We have this beautiful coastline on the Jersey Shore, and the liberals had this great idea to build windmills the wind turbines right off the shore to destroy our environment. Here they claim to be environmentalists, and they were going to build wind turbines, which, by the way, kill hundreds of thousands of migratory birds and eagles every year because the sound of the woof, woof is a draw. The birds fly into them and they get hacked to pieces. Not to mention the maintenance costs. Those turbines literally need to be maintained on a daily basis. They need to be replaced every few months. For the amount of energy they generate, it's really a draw in terms of the cost effectiveness of them. And so they kiboshed the deal. Here, they went ahead and shut down all these coal plants in anticipation of having the wind turbines, and they shut down the wind turbine plan. So now we don't have the coal plants, we don't have the wind turbines, and they're going to hike energy costs 20% and charge us green fees, but they don't tell us it's all their fault. They just say, oh, it's supply and demand. Your fault that it's a supply and demand issue. That's liberals.
Yeah, and when it all fails and it doesn't work, they're going to say, what happened? Spend all this money to go back. For example, in Michigan, they are opening a plant that they had shuttered, that they had closed, and this comes now as Governor Gretchen Whitmer is looking towards a presidential run. So now she's kind of changing on many and becoming a uniter and more common sense. So they are restarting a plant in Michigan that they shuttered. So it's interesting as to how we're almost in the same situation as you are.
Yeah, well, and it's only liberal states. A perfect example. I live part-time, as you know, in the state of Florida. State of Florida. Now, you know the demand for air conditioning and the electric costs for air conditioning and the draw. Okay. In all my years there has never been a brownout or a blackout. We almost never lose power, ever, because they buried most of the cables in much of the states, especially in the bigger urban areas. They're all buried underground. We don't ever lose power. It is unreal how efficient things are. And by the way, energy costs in the state of Florida have come down 2 years in a row. Down.
Wow.
Now, aren't we all part of the same grid? Isn't there supply and demand? Florida, fastest growing state in the whole country. Clearly, the demand keeps increasing there, but somehow they're able to keep up. Guess what? They built solar plants there. Of course, it's Florida, the Sunshine State. It makes sense. But before they built the solar plant, they kept the coal and the gas plants open till the solar plants were online. Then they turned down or closed some of the coal plants. But as you were mentioning before about efficiency, do you realize that a coal or natural gas powered plant is 10 to 20 times more efficient than a solar plant? That with one gas or coal plant, you produce 20 times the energy as one solar plant. So you have to have 20 solar plants for every one natural gas or coal plant. Even in the Sunshine State, you'd use up every inch of land with solar panels and you wouldn't have enough energy. So this, again, is a folly. You have liberals who love the talking point, but it just doesn't translate. And all they want is your money out of your pocket, and they tell us we're supposed to live like cavemen and not have air conditioning or heat.
True. In Michigan, the studies, if it's implemented the way they wanted to implement, we will start having power outages in the middle of winter for 60, 80 hours. That's what the estimates are. But we'll feel good, though, because, yes, we're saving the environment. But at the same time, northern Michigan right now and Wisconsin and other states, we had a major ice storm, and there's be without power for several weeks. And in Michigan, and the consumers' energy and all these utility companies spending money on burying the power lines and doing things like that, they're getting all the subsidies and they're putting into green energy instead of burying the power lines. And right now, today, there's still about 100,000 people without power in Michigan. And the money that went to the green energy really isn't helping anybody right now.
Unbelievable. And at a time when we're all struggling financially, again, liberals could not manage their way out of a paper bag. They just, listen, you want to do green energy, let people invest, let a green energy company with a bunch of green investors, because there are plenty of stock funds that are strictly green. Let them take private money and invest in green energy plants. And if it really is efficient and will work, you're going to make billions. But the problem is, no. Yeah. Do you know that you require oil to build solar plants? You require oil to run wind turbines? That the plastic that is the covering of all the solar panels, that's made of petroleum. So you have to have oil for that. Do you know that the cables, they're all made of petroleum with metal inside? Yep. Do you know that the wind turbines, they have to be lubricated with hundreds of gallons every day of petroleum? These people don't get it. Oh, by the way, you see this right here? This is made partially from polyester. Polyester is made from petroleum. It's spun from oil. So you can't get away from fossil fuels. Don't try. It is part, and it's just as naturally part of the environment as anything else. It is carbon. It is dead carbon. So plants and animals and humans die, they rot in the ground, and over the years, they're reduced to the carbon, and that carbon becomes fossil fuels. So to make it sound like
Wow.
it's something artificial is just nonsense. What's
You are on it
artificial
this
is solar panels.
Yeah, exactly. You are on it this morning. Wow, my friend, you are
And
energized. But
and Dave,
you're
I'm
speaking
drinking water.
truth. Yeah.
I'm drinking water,
Water
pal.
is
I didn't
good.
have my coffee today.
Yeah, I need more water. I need to wake up actually. Yeah.
Poor Dave. Dave and his wife both, and you have two kids. Dave and his wife just had COVID. Thank God the COVID shots really kicked in and worked for us, right?
Yeah, and
Sorry.
honestly, the COVID that I had, everything else has been worse. Influenza A, all the others. COVID, it was a bad cold, and I'm not being mean about it, but it was. So I got better, but then we lost our power in Michigan for 3 days here. So everything's normal. Cross your fingers, everything good. Hopefully it's good, and the weather is good for all of you there as well.
All right, and let's hope we don't, our pockets don't get picked 20% like they're talking about it for energy this summer. Dave, how can people find Keeping It Real and subscribe to that and read your blog?
I'd say the easiest way, just search my name, Dave Bondy, Bondy. Go to Google and you'll find Substack or all the social platforms. Whatever one you like, just search my name. I should be there.
All right. Independent journalist and my longtime friend, Dave Bondy, host of Keeping It Real with Dave Bondy on YouTube and Substack. Thanks as always for being with us today.
Thank you, sir.
All right, pal. Feel well. When we come back, we're going to take your calls at 888-658-0234. Showers this morning, then scattered thunderstorms, maybe a bit breezy this afternoon. Much warmer, especially in the southern part of the state. The temp for most of New Jersey, low 70s, could be upper 70s to 80 in the southern parts later. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a full Garden State forecast in a moment. You're watching ONNJ Mornings, seen daily at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X, and streamed live on Rumble and Twitch at twitch.tv/OnNewJersey. We'll be right back. A very good morning. It is 8 a.m., Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. It is 47 degrees, and we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Showers this morning, maybe a little fog, then scattered thunderstorms, a bit breezy in the afternoon. It's going to be in the low 70s for much of the state, but some parts in the south could see upper 70s to near 80. Meteorologist Mike Favetta explains with the first check for the hour of the Garden State forecast. Mike?
Good morning, Ken. Yeah, a bit of a change this morning down in southern New Jersey. A few thunderstorms popping up right along the turnpike. So if you're traveling south of, say, exit 6 or 7 on the turnpike, you may run into some of these storms. Live radar at 8:03, picking up some of those cells currently working there toward 295, toward Deptford. I'll even zoom in a little bit here for a little bit to show you where those are. So right down through Mount Laurel and Palmyra, this is the kind of the Philadelphia suburbs there, over toward Glassboro and down by Swedesboro and all the way toward the Delaware Memorial Bridge. So literally lined up right along the turnpike early on this morning. Well, throughout the rest of the day, these storms will be popping up at times, providing that little bit of a milder feel through the afternoon with the sunshine that breaks through the clouds. We're already starting at 53 over toward Ship Bottom, 61 right now in Atlantic City, and even toward Morristown and Sussex, a little bit cooler with those temperatures holding in the upper 40s. That southerly breeze coming in off of the water, making for a chilly start along the coast, but right now a 31 mile per hour wind toward Millville, so much gustier as that warm front tries to push on through, and even the wind chill right now bringing down those temperatures a few degrees. We are a solid 20 to 23 degrees warmer than this time yesterday in Mount Holly and Millville, so a big warm up on the way today, as again, a few of those showers and storms now developing along the turnpike this morning. You'll see them pop up here as that front tries to push on through. There they are right there along the turnpike, and working their way again through northern New Jersey with some lunchtime showers in the northern section of the state right through noon. Once those pass on through, the early afternoon sees some clearing, and that'll help temperatures warm quickly with that southerly breeze up to 81 in Camden, 81 as well in Trenton, even 78 in Newark. That is impressively mild. With that little bit of extra humidity, some breaks of sun in the clouds, that will help to fire off a quick passing storm again this evening across southern New Jersey. Is it expected to be severe? No, but there might be some isolated gusty winds with those cells that move through southern New Jersey. Best chance of seeing that would be south of 195. Later on tonight, we see the rain wrap up briefly, but then return tomorrow morning in the northern part of the state with another round of wet weather move in. Now, tomorrow evening is a cooler finish to the day, with temperatures only holding in the upper 50s and low 60s. And with that, we get a little bit of a clearing before more rain comes in tomorrow night and that easterly breeze takes over. And that's going to set the stage for a very calm and cloudy Saturday with some on and off mist and drizzle, just a cool, cloudy day all around, and temperatures in the 40s. Saturday night sees a quieter period with another round of clearing trying to work through for Sunday, and that may help temperatures again, much like today, by the afternoon reach the low 80s across southern New Jersey, even the mid 70s there up toward Newark. By Sunday afternoon, another round of wet weather comes in, might even be accompanied by a few storms, but that might be the last of our rainy period because come early next week, we see a drier trend take over come Monday into Tuesday. So as far as the next few days, we get rain chances each and every day, big temperature swings from morning to afternoon, and I think this weekend, Saturday is the cooler, cloudy, rainy day, whereas Sunday looks to be dry in the morning, and with some breaks of early afternoon sun, it'll feel quite nice, and we'll be back up in the 70s. We'll tell you more about it and time it out with another check of your forecast, Ken. It's coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Mike. Yeah, and because of all the damp roadways and the fog and whatnot, the drizzle and the rain we have this morning, we have a lot of traffic issues. A lot. We could do the whole rest of the show traffic right now based on what we have. But thank you. We'll check back with you in just a little bit. 47 degrees now at 8:07. Take a look at this. If Pam could bring up, this is the Newark Bay extension of the New Jersey Turnpike. This is mile marker 3.5, Hudson County extension by the 14A tower. So all that means, translation, that right there on the right, see where that red truck is? Everything's crawling. That goes to the Holland Tunnel. The reason why it's now crawling to the Holland Tunnel is we have a disabled vehicle at the Holland South Tunnel, eastbound New Jersey side. So these people are going into the area where the disabled vehicle is located. And that is what you have right there as a result. Vehicles crawling to get to the Holland Tunnel. That little flash frame, that almost looked like it was pre-taped. It's not. You can see the red truck now at the top. That just happens because of the internet delays. So we have a mess with the roadways. We have a crash on Route 55 northbound, north of exit 56, Route 47 in Deptford Township with a left lane and shoulder closed with 15 to 20-minute delays. A crash on 295 southbound at exit 72, Route 31 in Hopewell Township, a right lane and shoulder closed with 10-minute delays. We could take a look now at the upper and lower levels of the GWB. This is the approach on I-8095. You can see it's actually moving much better than it was. So we had an earlier disabled vehicle on the upper level, which would be the right side. You could see that's moving pretty well now, so that clearly that disabled vehicle must have been taken care of. Lower level, even though it's very packed, it is moving. So that right there, when you see that pace, you're talking about a 35 to 40-minute ride into Manhattan right now. Not so bad considering the weather. We have a tractor trailer fire, Route 81 southbound, Route 1 and 9 in Elizabeth at that interchange. All lanes are closed on 81 southbound. And we have a traffic signal down on 168 northbound by Newtown Creek and Audubon Park. All lanes are closed and being detoured. Let's take a look at our I-80 cam. East and westbound I-80, exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton, Route 15 on the upper right of your screen. This is closed in both directions on I-80 as they continue doing that emergency sinkhole repair. It'll be closed on the westbound side another 5 weeks. On the eastbound side, it will be closed for 7 more weeks. There you have it. And by the way, I have Lots and lots more traffic just to share with you, but I'm not gonna, I could just go on. Bottom line is if you're headed to work or school right now, I hope you gave yourselves a good 15 to 30 minutes of extra travel time because I'm losing my voice from the amount of traffic that we have. It's 8:09. We have an inspiring story of resilience and purpose. Stephen Benvenisti, who's a Bergen County resident and MAD ambassador, survived a life-altering tragedy when he was struck by a drunk driver while on spring break in Florida. Left in a coma for nearly 2 weeks, he endured a severe traumatic brain injury, intracranial hemorrhaging, and crushed legs. He spent 5 months in the hospital and underwent 15 surgeries. Unable to walk or care for himself, Stephen faced unimaginable challenges, yet he turned all that pain into a powerful mission. Now, as part of a groundbreaking partnership between Mothers Against Drunk Driving and Uber launching this Alcohol Awareness Month, Stephen is helping save lives by sharing his story. Stephen, thank you for joining us today. Good to have you on.
It is my pleasure, and thank you for having me.
You bet.
And
Take us back,
and
Steve. Go ahead. Yeah,
yeah, you
go ahead.
summed it up perfectly. I was actually attending the College of New Jersey, and you may know it also as Trenton State College. But I was on my
Yeah.
final spring break. I was in my senior year, and really life couldn't have been better. I had already been accepted to law school, and I went with my friends from New Jersey on vacation. And while I was walking, little did I know that there was a drunk driver who had just left a bar. All his friends knew he was drinking, and he got behind the wheel of his car. Of course, he didn't have a license, he didn't have insurance, and he drove his car at over 50 miles per hour. And according to witnesses, his lights were off. He was swerving throughout the roadway, and then he went over the double yellow lines and he crashed right into my body. People in the area actually called the police because they heard a weird explosion sound and they didn't know what that was. That was a sound of my head and face going through the outside windshield of his car, and my body
Oh,
was thrown 70 feet before I landed face down in the roadway in a coma. I've since learned just how bad it was. My family was called in Bergen County in the middle of the night. They were actually called by physicians, and just, I can't imagine, and God willing, I will never know what it is like for every parent to get that phone call that we all pray we'll never get from doctors to be told that I was in the deepest possible coma. There's a measurement throughout the world called the Glasgow Coma Score. It goes from 3 to 15, and 15 is full consciousness. I was at the level 3. And if you Google the
oh,
prognosis for someone with a Glasgow level 3 coma, you just don't wake up from that. And the few who have been profoundly disabled. My parents
unreal.
just got a room, yeah, got a room in the hospital and just talked to me, played recordings to me. But I was one of the lucky ones because after almost 2 weeks, I woke up, I survived, I recovered, and I'm here today to talk with you.
Thank God for that. And I'm sure a lot of that may have to do with the stimulation that your parents gave you by the sound. I mean, there's so much to be said for the sound because when you're in a coma, sometimes the hearing is usually
You
still
have,
functioning, right? So that could
uh,
very well have helped bring you out of it.
And that's very interesting because at the time, the medical literature did not show that. And then what had occurred was long after I had recovered, there was a study that was done that showed that yes, this is exactly what you're supposed to do when someone is in a coma. But my family didn't know that at the time. They just did it on their own by playing recordings and talking with me and holding my hand. And when I woke up from the coma, according to my family, I started to talk about what was said to me when I was in the deepest possible coma, when at the time there was no one who believed that you could actually hear what was being said in the outside.
So that you've proved that you've proved them wrong, and now we know. What would you say, Stephen, was the hardest part of your journey, physically and
I think the
emotionally?
hardest part is, picture here I was at the College of New Jersey. I was just leading, or I was in a fraternity. I was just really, even said to myself, life could not get better than it was for me at the time. And then it was waking up and to realizing everything that had been stolen from me, not just because of my catastrophic fractured legs that needed 15 surgeries to rebuild my legs, not just because it didn't look like I was ever going to be walking again if I was able to even save my legs, but it was because of the prognosis that came with the severe traumatic brain injury. And even in the year 2025, unfortunately, there's no cure for any type of brain injury. And for me, it was a severe traumatic brain injury. I woke up from the coma and I wasn't able to remember if I had breakfast. I wasn't able to articulate my thoughts with words that were coming to me. I was repeating myself constantly. And then friends from college and my girlfriend and my family members, when they would visit me, they knew something was wrong and I knew something was wrong and I didn't know if it would ever get better. So to answer your question, that was without question the hardest part about it. The other hard part was to know that what happened to me was so preventable. I mean, if someone had stopped the drunk driver from getting behind the wheel of his car, that would have stopped this from happening. If there was something
How
like
about just
Uber
not
at the
let him get it? How about just not letting him have a car, knowing the damn guy didn't have a license and had absolutely no business being behind the wheel? I mean, it's just there's so many levels of how stupid. And friends knew he probably didn't have a license. I mean, how do you let a guy you know is unlicensed, uninsured, and a drinker? Oh yeah, that's just a perfect compilation. Let him get behind the wheel. How would they like it if it was their relative that had happened to them? What happened to you? It's just disgusting. And only because we're
well,
running
what's
out of
it?
time, I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
go ahead. See, I
It's
wanted you
still
to
it
get to
happens
this.
today. Yeah, all the time. Go ahead,
All
continue,
the
please.
time. They still don't know. And now we even have the added problem of legalized marijuana. And there's no way to field test with legalized marijuana. I mean, I see people drifting all over the roads at all hours constantly, and I know damn well they're impaired one way or the other. And it's infuriating. People think, oh, marijuana is so much better. No, you're stoned. You shouldn't be driving.
Right,
What is
exactly.
talk about the initiative that's going on between MAD and Uber?
Well, before Uber even existed, we would always say to people, you find a designated sober driver. That's what you need to do. If you have a designated sober driver, there will be no more drunk driving crashes. But nowadays, we have designated sober drivers. They're called Uber drivers, and there are
Mhm.
thousands of them on the roadway. And for every single story that we hear, and there's literal carnage on our roadway, every one of them could have been stopped if they simply called an Uber. It is that simple. So now MAD is teaming with Uber so that everyone can have a designated sober driver, and they're called an Uber driver. And then when you hear about the data that's happening on our roadways, all of these heartbreaking crashes and all of these unnecessary fatalities could be prevented. And when I speak with audiences, I say with them, do you know, when I started speaking, I would say that we would lose 7,000 people a year, then 10,000 people every single year. But now there's Uber. So do you think fatalities are going up or going down? What would you think? They're going
You
up.
would think
Here's
going
what we
down.
do.
Of course they're going up.
Yeah,
Of course, because we
13,000 people on the
you know
roadways dying.
Steve,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, they didn't have ads for alcohol on TV. Now they do, although that may be changing under this administration because they want to get rid of drug and alcohol advertising. When I was a kid, marijuana was not legalized. Now it is in many states, and so it's like you have the problem every 78 seconds, somebody getting hurt or killed by an impaired driver. So what do? Let's make it easier for everybody to get impaired. It is beyond me. And like you said, it's a solvable problem that
Just make a
everybody turns
plan
their head and
before the
ignores.
night. Right. Make a
Steve, as long
plan
as
before
money
the
is
night.
involved, as long as
Mhm.
money's involved, these morons, they will not get it until it's their family. Unfortunately, it's sad. Anyone has to
Unfortunately.
suffer, but until it's their family, they just don't give a damn. And it makes me
Yeah,
sick that you had to go
me
through
too.
what you had to go through, and so
And
many
I thank
people
you.
had to.
And I was
I,
one of the
well,
lucky
and
ones.
thank God. And thank God you're here to
Yeah,
talk about it. But there's so many.
yeah.
I have a cousin, by the way. I have to true confessions here. I have a cousin whose parents, this is back in the 70s, parents drove him from New York to Florida, Miami, dropped him off for college, kissed him goodbye, introduced the roommates and everything else. They got back in their car, started driving back. They drove, this is before cell phones, 1970s. They drove all the way to the South North Carolina border, by south of the border. They called their relatives in New York to say, "Oh, we're made it to the south of the border. We'll be home in 12 hours or whatever." And they said, "You don't know what happened? Their son was killed by a drunk driver. He was crossing the street 10 minutes after the parents left him. He was crossing the street to go to a place to have a sandwich, and a drunk driver in a van hit him. He also went about 30 feet, killed. He literally never had a chance to have 1 second of college. And so it's
I,
sensitive for me. It hits home for me.
as
And
a
that's
as a
why
personal
I
injury
feel your emotion.
attorney, I represent these families. I just got a case where my client was so tragically injured, and the driver of the car was not only impaired, but had their baby in the car. This is on New Jersey roadways.
Yeah. We just had a mayor in
Yeah,
one of the towns in northern New Jersey. You know that, who
yeah,
was
yeah, of
stopped
course.
allegedly impaired and with a child in the car. It's so
Mm,
no matter who you are and where your place in life, wealthy or
welcome.
not, educated or not, people think I'm fine. No, you're not. And by the way, next time you go to a wedding and you think you could have your 5 glasses of wine over the course of the evening and then still get behind the wheel, no, no. Have the
Plan
one
ahead.
member of
Call
the
an
wedding
Uber.
party. That's it. And you could have all the
Yeah,
fun you want. Nobody
yeah.
gets hurt. Mad
Right.
Ambassador Steve Benvenisti, we would love to
Thank
have
you.
you back. Thank you for
Thank you.
what you do. And I'm sorry for what you went through. And thank you
And
so
thank you
much
for
for
raising
joining
this
us.
important issue with
You
appreciation.
bet. Very, very important issue. All right, we appreciate you. We're running very late now, but this was just too important not to spend time on. We will be back in just a moment with Fisher talking about the sale of TikTok. We'll be right back. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It is 8:20. Taking calls at 888-658-0234. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a rainy, at least this morning, Garden
Yeah.
State forecast, but it could get really warm in some parts in the South later today.
That's right. It's a split forecast. Rain this morning, some sunshine this afternoon, and much warmer later on today. The storms you heard about in the Midwest causing a lot of severe weather, well, that's what's approaching New Jersey right now, just giving us some light showers throughout the rest of the morning. They're already arriving down in southern New Jersey there along the turnpike. You see these showers and storms popping up. One of the latest scans here on the radar at 8:21, showing them entering places like Mount Holly, Lumberton, Medford in the next few minutes, and Marlton. Even the tracker here shows that over the next few minutes, we'll see them enter places like Springfield, Wrightstown, Fort Dix, and Plumstead by 8:35. So these are moving quickly to the east. Will be impacting Burlington, Ocean, and Atlantic counties in the next several hours and giving us our wet weather throughout this morning. There in the southern portion of the state. The future radar takes it even up through Monmouth County by around 10 a.m. And then you see some more of those showers enter northern New Jersey shortly thereafter. So with the visibility dropping as a result of that rain, you see Medford visibility right now 8.4 miles. We've had that fog and mist and drizzle for most of the morning with that reduced visibility everywhere you see the shaded in red up through Sussex and Morristown. That's where it's going to be a little bit dicey this morning on the roads. As Ken has been telling you with the traffic all morning long, I think weather a big part of today's traffic report. Now, with the forecast keeping the sunshine around into this afternoon, it turns very mild with highs in the mid and maybe even upper 70s. The further south you had there, Fort Dix and Mount Holly. But with a little round of rain again this evening, we're not quite done with the wet weather yet. There will be some more wet weather days ahead, especially going into tomorrow and Saturday. With the warm, gusty breezes this afternoon, keeping the tree pollen at the moderate level, I think we'll see an improvement, especially for Saturday with that cool easterly breeze, bringing in that refreshing feel, and as I like to call it, the allergy-free air. Notice the wind gusts today, pushing in those southerly breezes, helping things to warm nicely into the afternoon. The breaks of sun obviously helping. And then by tomorrow, we see a little bit more of a northwest wind. It's generally calm, but by Saturday, that's the east wind that pulls in. A very chilly feel. Temperatures stay in the 40s all throughout New Jersey during the day, and it feels quite cool even into the afternoon. So while today there will be some sun in the afternoon, overall the UV index is a 2, and that's low. But again, I think we could see a little bit more sun throughout the end of the day, just as that sun is setting, helping us to warm just a little bit. So here's the line of storms that impacted areas in the Midwestern section of the country. It arrives here throughout the course of the day into this afternoon. Already had some of those storms across southern New Jersey, but temperatures will warm in response to that warm front, getting all the way up to 80 in parts by the end of the day. It stays mild tonight, a couple rounds of rain in the overnight, and then tomorrow starts off pretty wet. I think we get another round of clear sky by the end of the day tomorrow, and then what do you know? More rain on tap for Saturday. So it's these on and off showers that stick around going in through the first part of the weekend with that cooler feel on Saturday, but then much warmer by Sunday as that wind brings in some milder weather. Monday into Tuesday of next week brings back another round of clear sky, our first in a while, and that clear sky could take us into the middle of next week. So get ready for some wet days ahead. Even though it's a little milder by Sunday, we'll be in the low 70s, still have a rain chance by Sunday afternoon. So a little bit of wet weather each and every day, Ken, going forward.
There you go. And it's, I'm just looking outside right now. It's foggy, it's ugly, but nonetheless, it is exactly what you said it would be. So I think all everybody has to do is listen to Mike and we'll be all good. All right. Meteorologist Mike Favetta, thank you very much. It is 47 degrees now at 8:25. With just a couple of days left until the deadline for TikTok to spin off from its Chinese-owned parent company or face a ban in the U.S., new potential buyers have reportedly jumped into the race. And joining us now to talk about it is brand and digital strategist Fisher, who can be found on X, Threads, and Instagram with username @Fisher and through his website, fisher.media. Good morning, Fisher. So who are these possible buyers and what happens if there's no preliminary deal by Saturday?
Yeah. So, and we reset this. I feel like this is the most talked story that we've talked about this year. So it's all about security. China has a backdoor access to any Chinese company and their data. And by U.S. law, user data for U.S. residents needs to be owned and stored by a U.S. company on U.S. soil. If you remember back on January 19th, President Biden signed the TikTok ban into law. On the 20th, the next day, Trump signed the executive order postponing the law by 75 days so a U.S. buyer could be found. Now, that 75 days happens to be Saturday, April 5th. And as you've mentioned, bids have been put up. At first by former Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary, Oracle, Blackstone, and most recently, startup Zoop, mobile technology company AppLovin, and Amazon. And Amazon's bid is to buy the whole thing. Everything. And it's, And so they submitted a bid proposal to Vice President Vance and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Now, it's interesting for Amazon because TikTok, besides being a major social media app, is also a major e-commerce site. Buying TikTok could bring a user base of 170 million to Amazon. And in fact, last August, TikTok and Amazon formed a partnership that allowed TikTok users to link their account with Amazon and make purchases from the site without even leaving the app. So it's rumored that President Trump is considering the bids, but none of that really matters because President Trump doesn't own TikTok, right? TikTok and their parent company ByteDance and China are going to be the ones with the real say in this. So I guess President Trump will sign off whether or not those companies can, from the U.S. standpoint would be okay. The other potential, of course, is that ByteDance is owned by several investors, some hedge funds, and some of those are based in the United States. So could some of those minority owners of ByteDance increase their share and then reduce China's ownership to the 20% threshold? That's a possibility as well.
Either way, a lot of people are going to be making an awful lot of money. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And this has been, as you said, this has been in the works for years. And for those who don't realize, again, this comes down to China and the access to people's personal data. If you have your phone and you want to you download the TikTok app, you're basically signing away all your private information to China right now, because even though they say it's based in the U.S., everything if you're a subsidiary of a Chinese company, that means that the mothership back in China, they have access whenever they want it, right? To all of that data. Should they want to go through it? Should they want to blackmail you? Should they want to do anything? Because they are communist Chinese. They're not our buddies. They can do that right now. As much as the chairman in the United States of ByteDance denies that, they are actually instructed to lie by the Chinese Communist government. That is on the books. They are instructed to lie when conducting business. It is part of the
And
training.
to be fair, ByteDance does say that the U.S. data is on servers in the United States by Oracle servers. But, again, whether that's true, what access China has, but they do claim that the U.S. data is stored in the United States.
Fascinating, though. And we'll see what happens. I mean, what do you think? What will happen? I mean, by Saturday, they have to have something preliminarily kind of in the works or else they get shut down again?
No, I think that President Trump will just extend the executive order again. I think that's what it'll come down to. He'll say something that we have, some good bids, and we'll extend it for some time. And how long, the Congress will allow him to do that, or the Justice Department, who knows? But I think until something's in place, that they'll kick the can down the road.
Yeah, because I'm sure he looks at that as being one of the platforms that helped get him elected with younger people. So he doesn't want to close down the TikTok. All right. I know. Make fun of me for saying the TikTok. Go ahead, Fisher. I know.
The internet.
Go ahead. He wants to. No, excuse me. It's called the interwebs. Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
I forgot.
You should know better. You should know better. We only know each other about 35, 40 years. All right. Brandon, digital strategist Fisher, found on X. Thank you. Meanie. Found on X, Threads, and Instagram with the username @Fisher, and through his website, fisher.media. Thanks for coming on this morning, bud. Always good to see you.
Take care, Ken. Thanks.
You bet. Oh, by the way, Mayor Eric Adams is opting out of New York City's Democratic primary, and he's running for re-election as an independent. That is the new news this morning, embarking on a narrow path as he further isolates himself from the city's dominant political party. Of course, the Democrats have been trying to push him out because of all the issues he had. But now that all the charges were dropped against him by the feds, he feels free and unshackled. But apparently the Democrats are trying to push him out. Their man is Cuomo. They want former Governor Andrew Cuomo as their guy right now. And so Adams sees the writing on the wall. So he plans on running as an independent. Here's what this means. Neither Cuomo nor Adams could win. It now means the Democrats could lose to the Republican, Curtis Sliwa, because usually the Republican finds that path in when the Democrat vote is split. If you'll recall, when Rudy Giuliani ran, he ran as a Republican and a liberal. And Democrats in New York who could not vote with an R voted with an L in order to elect Rudy Giuliani mayor. Same situation here. They could say, we're not going to vote for the Democrat because we like Curtis Sliwa, or enough Republicans could come in because the vote for Democrats could be split. So pay attention to that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Again, Eric Adams, mayor of New York, will be running as an independent. No longer is he considered a Democrat. He's officially quit the party, and we'll see what happens with that. It is 8:31. Schools around the state are cutting arts and music programs due to funding challenges. So the Salvation Army rose to the occasion. We'll tell you about a very special program in Trenton. Also, the phone lines are open, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. And meteorologist Mike Favetta says showers this morning, scattered thunderstorms, a bit breezy this afternoon. It'll be in the low 70s for much of the state, could be upper 70s toward the south later on. Full Garden State forecast in just a moment. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. We're coming right back. Good morning. It is Thursday, April 3rd, 2025, 48 degrees at 8:33. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. Showers this morning, then scattered thunderstorms, a bit breezy this afternoon, much warmer later in the day. Highs in the low 70s for much of the state, but we could see upper 70s to near 80 toward the southern part. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Ken, good morning to you. Yeah, there's a damp, chilly feel outside this morning with some rounds of rain entering portions of Monmouth and Ocean County right now. However, there's a clearing that occurs later on this afternoon, and that will help bring back the sunshine, bringing in some milder weather to finish out the day with temperatures up, like you said, in the upper 70s right around around 80. More rain on the way for tomorrow as well as Saturday, but the weekend turns warmer by Sunday and could see a few milder spells in there with some clearing. A pretty foggy scene across most of northern New Jersey right now at 8:34, with visibility down to a mile or less in many locations, but with temperatures ultimately warming thanks to the clear sky returning along the coast. Upper 60s for you and upper 70s inland there from Hamilton, Glassboro, and Camden. We'll see a mix of clouds and sun this afternoon, again with another threat of a shower later on tonight. With the sun setting at 7:24, we're approaching that 6:30 sunrise and 7:30 sunset, and yet it was just the equinox a few weeks ago. So bringing back a milder feel as some clouds are trying to break through, allowing for that fog to develop there in northeastern New Jersey, and there's that line of showers that's crossing the turnpike and then soon the parkway momentarily. So there will be some wet weather in spots this morning, only adding to that poor driving, making traffic even worse. But I think we get a better chance of clear sky throughout the afternoon as well as tomorrow later in the day. Saturday is our wettest day of the week and really the weekend, with temperatures that will hold in the 40s most of the day. It'll feel quite chilly and gray throughout the afternoon. But Sunday has a warming trend, and that starts our drier period with rain chances less and less going forward into the middle of next week. Severe threat is low today in predominantly the western section of New Jersey, not just for hail and wind, but also tornadoes. There's a very small chance, especially there during the afternoon and evening hours there toward the southwestern corner of the state. So I think we're looking good in that respect, better for air quality, a nice cool breeze today throughout this afternoon. And then as the cooler air takes over with that cold front, we see the rain come in throughout the morning tomorrow, try to clear out in the afternoon in northeastern New Jersey, but clouds over southern New Jersey. And then we see that flip. Day of transition, Saturday, cool and cloudy and breezy with those rainy conditions throughout most of Saturday, but then sun tries to return for southern New Jersey by Sunday afternoon, whereas in the northern section of the state, it rains. I think by Monday, we're left with a little bit more wet weather, but that should be it going into next week with a nice dry period setting up come Monday afternoon into Tuesday. So it takes almost a whole 5 days of wet weather to get there. But again, there'll be days where we'll have some cooler weather, some days where it's milder, and each and every afternoon sees a big difference in temperatures. Some days it's in the 70s, other days it's in the 40s. That'll be the case as soon as this afternoon as compared to tomorrow. By tomorrow afternoon in southern New Jersey, again, there's a little bit of that cooler feel at the coast with some fog developing thanks to some warmer weather by Sunday. But again, I think it'll be hazy with some breaks of sun and then cooler by Monday, but drier for all of New Jersey come Tuesday and Wednesday. So a drier feel on the way, Ken. It just takes a little bit of time to get there as we're taking those April showers in stride. This feels like each and every day have another round of wet weather.
There you go. All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. It is 8:37 and we have a temp of 48 degrees. Last night, nearly 100 kids in Trenton filled the halls of the Salvation Army Trenton Corps with music showcasing their talents in a program that's striking a chord in the community. With arts and music programs disappearing from school budgets across New Jersey, the Salvation Army is stepping up, offering free and low-cost lessons to kids ages 6 to 16. Joining us now to talk about this incredible program is Captain Alan Porchetti of the Salvation Army Trenton Corps. And also, Captain Porchetti, you're both husband and wife, and you are both captains, correct? Welcome.
Yes. Yes. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. I think, by the way, I was a Catholic priest at one point, so I actually understand how the Salvation Army is structured. A lot of people don't understand it. When you are captain, that's a ministerial rank in the church, right?
Yes. Yes, correct.
Which is fascinating.
So,
I love that. So just homage to
yes.
you for what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Captain, or whichever captain would like to take this. Last night's event was a huge moment for these kids. Tell us what it was like to see 100 young musicians come together at the Trenton Corps.
Well, Ken, we see children on a weekly basis. They come through our doors. It hits maybe before 5 o'clock, and they are rushing through our doors, excited, ready to go to their classes. Last night we were teaching dance, piano, guitar, drums, and it's just so exciting to see kids ready to learn. It has boosted so many of their confidence, their self-esteem. And they come with no knowledge. They started the year back in September with us, not knowing anything about music, and we're moving on to the spring season here, and they're sprouting, they're blossoming.
I love it. And music and arts programs, sadly, because of budget issues, they've been cut from so many schools, but especially schools in the inner cities. Trenton is an area that has certainly been financially challenged over the decades. Why does the Salvation Army see it as so important to step in and provide these opportunities in the arts for these kids in Trenton?
That's a great question, Ken. One of the reasons why we want to do it's because we're a family-oriented organization, right? There are a lot of things that kids could do outside in the street, and the Salvation Army, we like to keep our doors open, mainly because we love music. Isabel and I grew up in the music environment, so I'm a musician myself. But it's a way for us to get the kids out of the street. You know, kids have a ton of things to do out in the community, and some of them are not so good. So we want to we want to have a program that's good for the community. You know, not every kid is a sporty kid. I am not a sporty kid myself. So we love to open our doors to the families and just to provide something different for the community. It's a clean program, it's a safe program, and that's why our doors are open.
Hey, good for you. I wasn't a sporty kid either. I was the nerdy kid in the family and out of shape and whatnot. But I appreciate the fact that you offer these alternatives for these kids who otherwise with idle time, you know what they say about idle time, and you give them something to do in a safe place to be. And I'm sure they just appreciate it so much. And we heard about Nick Marzolo, the Rider University volunteer who's been teaching piano every week. What does it mean to have volunteers like him pouring their time and passion into this program you put together?
Well, first of all, we're a volunteer-based organization. We rely fully on volunteers. And 3 years ago, when we created this connection with Westminster College through Rider University, it was a blessing for us because right before this started, I used to teach all the classes by myself. So when Nick came in, he was just a great help, and he is, a great help to us. So we love having him around. We love having volunteers around. As a matter of fact, 10 of our teachers in our music school are volunteers. So volunteers are an essential help of the Salvation Army.
Amazing. And you do so many ministries. The Salvation Army gets, as they say, gets their hands dirty. And I don't mean any disrespect when I say that in any way. You really put, if you will, again, put your money where your mouth is. You do the work that we're commanded by the Holy Spirit to do, as opposed to, well, I'll donate $5. No, you're the ones who take the donation and translate it into helping people who desperately need help. And that's the amazing thing. And you've done it for so long. Now, these kids are preparing for the Salvation Army's Star Search Talent Contest later this month. I love this. How are these weekly lessons helping them to get ready for that? And what can we expect to see on April 26th at the Montclair Corps?
Well, so here's the thing. It's a very, very intense class. The closer we get to April 26th, our kids start to freak out. They go crazy. They love it. It's something that they look forward every year, and it's a competition. It's America's Got Talent Salvation Army version, right? But they practice 2 songs, right? They perform 2 songs, and it's a competition. Hopefully they'll win their divisional level. Then we go into territorial Star Search, which is a countrywide competition in the Salvation Army. Not every kid that attends our programs is involved in the Salvation Army, so it's a great way for us to bring kids into our doors. It's a competition. We have 4 levels, level 1 being the very beginner level, and level 4 being the advanced level. So we have kids performing all the way from level 1 to level 4. And so this is something that we as officers look forward to every year because it's a way for us to bring up Trenton, New Jersey into the community. So every time, Trenton wins, we take pride in this. We are very proud officers of what we do, and we love it. That's why we do it. As
The
a matter of
amazing
fact,
thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Please.
yes, as a matter of fact, I started attending the Salvation Army because of music programs. As soon as I arrived to the United States, I was one of the beneficiaries of the Salvation Army's music program, and
I love
that's
it.
where I met my wife.
And oh wow, you guys met doing that? That's awesome. And now you
Yes.
share that with kids who sadly in so many schools again, and especially in the inner cities, so many of them are deprived of the arts, and they, life could be so challenging to begin with. You're now giving them something to distract them, joy, and teaching them a skill. It's phenomenal that you're doing this. And beyond music, the Salvation Army has a big range of programs in the community that you're always there for. You name an inner city, the Salvation Army is there. In every inner city in America, practically, and you make it work. How does it fit into your broader mission here in Trenton?
So the beauty of this program is that we're able to connect families to all of our programs, whether they come into our food pantry, whether they come into our canteen program, our diaper pantry. Each one of these programs is a door that opens to everything else that we provide for the community. And ultimately, it's to engage individuals, lift up families, and let them know that self-sufficiency is possible, and the Salvation Army is here to back them up with a helping hand.
Well, I love this. I love what you're doing. Yes, go ahead, Captain.
Or one of the things that we do take pride on, it's the fact that with budget cuts or without budget cuts, the Salvation Army, it's still open.
And you make it work.
Regardless,
yes. Well, let's get people to donate.
Community. Yes, so people can
let's
donate.
Get you in. Go ahead.
Sure, to the SalvationArmyNJ.com. I'm sorry, .org. It's one of the first things that you see once you enter the website. So by us receiving these donations, it's how we operate. The Salvation Army operates 100% on donations. So anyone that would be willing to donate to our program, we invest in the kids' future. Right. We do believe that the kids are the future of our community, and that's why the Salvation Army is there, because we want to be a bridge in between us and their future.
And it's called the Salvation Army because you not only save lives, you save souls. You've been responsible for saving so many people and making this society work because of all your hard efforts. Please know that there are many of us out here who appreciate you and know what efforts you make. And you don't seek a lot of recognition. You're not the ones out there waving flags and screaming. You just quietly do the Holy Spirit's work. And I love you for that. And by the way, having lost a lot of weight, and I've had sacks and sacks and sacks of brand new clothing, my local Salvation Army has been the recipient of probably 10 huge sacks of unused clothing with tickets on them still from the store. And I'm so glad that you guys could distribute that to people in the community who really need it. God bless you for what you do. Captain Alan Porchetti and Captain Isabella Porchetti of the Salvation Army Trenton Corps. You are special people. Thank you for what you do, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you. It is 8:47, and meteorologist Mike Favetta says scattered thunderstorms, maybe a bit breezy in the afternoon, much warmer later in the day. Highs in the low 70s for much of the state, could be upper 70s in the south later on. And Mike will be back with a full guard state forecast. And we are going to take your calls in just a minute. We do have a caller, in fact, right now. 888-658-0234. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. We'll be back in 30 seconds. It is 8:48, 48 degrees right now. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Showers this morning, scattered thunderstorms, a bit breezy in the afternoon, much warmer later in the day. Temps in the low 70s, much of the state, and upper 70s to around 80 for some parts in the south later. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State Forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, Ken. Some parts of New Jersey waking up to some thunderstorms as we speak. Right now, portions of Monmouth County over toward Howell, right there entering Ocean County, back by Plumstead. These are the lines of showers and storms that are taking over early this morning. So we can zoom on into one of them here over in northern New Jersey right now, down toward Howell. The temperature will start off cool, but then eventually take over through the afternoon, and especially as we head into the afternoon. So there's over by Plumstead and Fort Dix. We'll move into this area. You see by Cookstown and back over toward Collier's Mills and up by Jackson, and here over by Farmingdale and right by Route 34 in Wall. Some of these showers moving eastward, working their way to the coast this morning. And that will be the case throughout the course of the morning. Some light shower activity expected, maybe even a rumble of thunder there. And that takes you throughout the 10, 11 o'clock hour with this system working eastward. So Toms River will even pick up on some of those showers early on this morning. As far as the afternoon, we'll see a bit of an improvement with the fog. Visibility is pretty low right now, keeping less than a mile visibility down on the roads in northern New Jersey, but we'll see an improvement through the afternoon with some breaks of sun and temperatures that climb into the mid and upper 70s. That'll be the case with a rogue passing shower or storm later today. Yes, the pollen will be high, especially for the trees, and even grasses and weeds likely lower, but just enough of that breeze allowing to mix the air up and keep that pollen around throughout this afternoon, with the wind gusts currently at 850 this morning, running on the higher side. It'll be breezy this afternoon with a southerly wind pushing in, allowing for those gusts to go as high as 32 miles per hour out toward LBI. The winds are light throughout the day tomorrow, and that'll allow for some light rain to fall, but by tomorrow evening into Saturday morning, to start off our weekend, notice the wind moves in from the east, and that'll cool the state down dramatically, keeping it much chillier into our Saturday afternoon and keeping temperatures on the very chilly side. Today's UV index only at a 2. That's low on the scale. And I think going into tomorrow, also see, even though some breaks of sun today, some of that sun trying to peek through right now in portions of Cape May County, will ultimately be a little bit milder through this afternoon with that milder feel in the end of the day. So here's a little bit of the thunderstorm activity happening through 7 or 8 o'clock this afternoon into this evening, and then another round tonight. So it's just wet overall going into tomorrow, starting off tomorrow evening with some clear sky, but then right back to the rain as soon as Saturday morning, keeping the wet weather around for the start of the weekend, and then finally turning milder by Sunday. So I think Sunday afternoon, with those breaks in the clouds, see those temperatures climb back up into the 70s, maybe touch 80 degrees there in Trenton by noon, before another round of wet weather gets at us by Sunday evening. I think Monday and Tuesday starts a dry trend that takes us into early next week. There's the clear sky. By then, it'll be a while since we've seen it. And that dry weather even lasts into the end of next week. So overall, this weekend is split. We start off with some wet weather, cool conditions on Saturday, and then turn milder with a southwesterly wind by Sunday as temperatures climb to 72 by the afternoon. So a bit of a split weekend after so much up and down every moment of the day. We're going to have some pretty wild swings, Ken, in just a matter of minutes from 1 minute to the next here in New Jersey.
All right, Mike, busy day, weather-wise, traffic-wise, and every other way, sir. Enjoy the day and enjoy National Burrito Day and Chocolate Mousse Day, 2 of our favorites.
You too.
We'll catch you again, my friend. Take it easy. It is now 47 degrees, 8:52, and we're going to take a caller right now. We have Susan calling from, is it Morristown? Good morning, Susan.
Hi there, Ken. How are you?
Good morning. Wonderful. Thank you. You wanted to talk about tariffs today?
Oh, do I? So for the past 30 years as a profession, I basically make product overseas and bring it in. So we manufacture and we import and we sell to all of like the large chains in the United States. And these tariffs are just out of control. And personally, I'm a little conflicted. I'm a conservative Republican who actually voted for Trump. And I understand what he's doing, but I am so concerned because there's absolutely no way that this is not going to affect every single person here in America. I mean, I understand that he's brought, automobile manufacturing in and then the chip manufacturing. But like my company, we just make basic everyday goods, fitness accessories, camping things. it's unbelievable what they've done because these retailers, I mean, for instance, if you make something from China, you had a regular duty and then you had a tariff left over for many things from his first administration. And now on top of that, you're adding another 54%. So people were going to other countries, people were going to Vietnam, people were going to India, people were going to Cambodia. And now those, as of yesterday, you have 46%, another 26%. It's outrageous. So if you, for instance, I'm sorry if I'm rambling or going on too long, but for instance, if you were going to buy like a string light for decoration outdoors and say the store was going to buy it for $1, they have on that a 3.9% duty, which is from everywhere. They had a leftover 25% from his first administration. And now on top of that, you have another 54%. So, I mean, it's outrageous. Your dollar item is already almost $2, and that's before freight and markup. And I just think the American consumer is going to pay so much.
Yeah, and you're probably right. I mean, sadly, as even the president suggested, that the short term is going to be a little bumpy and painful. In fact, the stock futures for the market opening in 34 minutes, the stock futures are like down over 1,000 points right now. The Nasdaq futures are down 4%. So, and the market does not like uncertainty. And of course, just like you, many people on both sides of the aisle don't know what this will cause. And I think a lot of people are very concerned. But I think a lot of times when you have a challenge, it provokes and promotes change to occur. So the question is, maybe, will here, perfect example, Temu. All right. Temu, for the longest time, if you went on to the Chinese equivalent of Amazon, right? It's one of the equivalents of Amazon. You order something from Temu, it came from China. You'd have to wait 3 weeks, and you'd save a lot of money, but it would take, 3 weeks. Now, Temu has a lot of plants and both storage and manufacturing plants here in the United States. So you could order stuff from Temu, and when you go to order it on Temu, it says we'll be there in 2 days. So that tells you it's in the United States. So they have, because of what happened under the last Trump administration, that was the response to try to move some folks here. So, hopefully that'll be the case. Or if everybody else just drops their tariffs, so will President Trump. So we'll see if that'll provoke it. Otherwise, what's going to happen is we're not going to be buying a lot of foreign goods, and the companies overseas are going to really feel it even more so than us. So I would love to continue talking. Unfortunately, we hit the end of the show. But as always, we love to have you on. So call back at any time. We appreciate your opinion.
Thanks.
All
Have
right.
a good one.
All right. You too. Take care. Yeah, and that is a very valid point that Susan has. I mean, a lot of businesses, you have a lot of businesses, the profit margin is razor thin. It's not like they have a big profit margin. So now all of a sudden, if you take the prices and you have to jack up all the prices for tariffs, it's going to cost a lot of small companies that do import and export like Susan's. It's going to cost a lot. So fingers crossed, it's definitely not going to be an easy road. It is 8:57, 48 degrees right now, and Mike says showers this morning, scattered thunderstorms, a bit breezy this afternoon, much warmer later, highs in the low 70s, could be near 80 in the southern parts of the state. Thanks for watching On New Jersey Mornings for Thursday, April 3rd. I'm Ken Rosato. We will catch you again tomorrow. If you like what you saw, tell all your friends about us, and make sure you write down that number again. It's 888-658-8234. We'll take your calls all day long, no matter what the topic. Again, have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching On New Jersey Mornings.